Hi everyone. So, are you as tired as I am of working hard and watching your money slip through your fingers? That feeling of doing everything right but never being able to save is just frustrating, isn't it? But you know what? I may have the solution to your problems. Or at least, advice from someone who really knows a thing or two about money. I'm talking, of course, about the illustrious Warren Buffett, the famous billionaire investor considered to be one of the richest men in the world. This guy really knows how to grow a portfolio. Today, I'm going to share with you 10 things Warren Buffett says are completely unnecessary, expenses he recommends you avoid at all costs if you want to see your wealth swell instead of deflate like a common balloon. So hang in there, because some of these tips may surprise you. But I assure you that by following in Buffett's footsteps, you'll save thousands of dollars a year. Enough to finally make your dreams come true, instead of blowing it all on stuff you don't even need. So, ready to discover the 10 spending traps to watch out for like the plague? Let's get started. Pitfall number 1, the latest technological gadgets. The first thing Warren Buffett would tell you to avoid at all costs is the latest technological gadgets that cost a fortune. I'm talking about the new $1,000 high-end smartphones, brand new tablets, and laptops that companies bring out every year, making us think we absolutely need them. Buffett is known for still using an old flip phone, when he could clearly afford the most expensive models on the market. But why? Because he understands that these gadgets are, first and foremost, a fantasy created by brands to squeeze as much money out of you as possible. The reality is that the smartphone or computer you already have is more than adequate for most everyday tasks. So why break the bank for the latest technology? True major innovations are rare these days, and most of the time they're just slight improvements on previous models. So instead of giving in to the temptation to buy something new every time, ask yourself if you really need a new device. You'll save hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars every year by keeping your existing devices for a few more years. Pitfall number 2, overpriced brand name products. Another thing Warren Buffett would never give in to, overpriced brand name products, when you can find the same things much cheaper in private labels. Whether it's clothes, food, cosmetics, or household products, Buffett always favors the cheapest options. After all, why pay 3 times more for a simple t-shirt or a packet of pasta just because it has a little logo on it? Brands would have you believe that their products are better, but that's often just lip service. The quality of white brands these days is generally quite decent, and come to think of it, is it really worth obsessing over logos to look rich? Instead, save your money for the things that really matter, instead of blowing it all on overmarketed products. A decision that will easily save you several $100s a month on your groceries. Pitfall number 3, the latest fashion trends. The third thing Warren Buffett would avoid like the plague, blindly following the latest fashion trends to renew one's wardrobe at full price every season. The billionaire insists that there's no need to buy new clothes all the time. In fact, he himself has been known to wear the same outfits for decades. A little dull perhaps, but very economical. Because, apart from underwear and socks, most of our clothes last for many years if we take good care of them. So why go to the expense of looking like the ads for a few months a year? It's just an ecological and financial aberration. Fashion is a business designed to make you consume more and more, but you can easily do without it by developing your own timeless style. Jeans, a few basic t-shirts and sweaters will suffice most of the time. And if you're looking for a change, look no further than second-hand clothes, which cost a fraction of the price of new. Pitfall number 4, loyalty programs and discount cards. Beware of loyalty programs and discount cards that are supposed to save you money, but actually make you spend more. It's a trap very well analyzed by Warren Buffett. These systems that offer you discounts or points are above all a disguised way for companies to encourage you to overconsume. After all, why do you think they put so much marketing effort into selling you their cards? It's because, in most cases, you'll end up spending far more than you save with the discounts. You'll fall into the trap of going to them more often so you don't lose your points, or buying products you don't need just because they're on special offer. So stop falling for these sales tactics. Instead, adopt a minimal, considered purchasing strategy, make lists, compare prices, and buy only the bare essentials at the best value. You'll see that you won't need any so-called loyalty card to make real savings. Trap number 5, the latest brand new car. Now let's talk about a money pit that many people don't question, buying new cars that lose half their value as soon as you drive them off the lot. Now that's something Warren Buffett would never do. This pragmatic man understands perfectly well that cars are nothing more than an asset that depreciates at breakneck speed. So why on earth would anyone want to pay full price for a brand new model? His strategy is to wait a few years until the vehicles have already lost a lot of their value, and then buy used ones at rock-bottom prices. In this way, he benefits from the initial discount of the first owners, while being assured that the car's reliability will still be there a few years after its release. Add to this the monstrous savings you'll make on insurance and registration fees for a used car, and you'll quickly realize that this technique is the best long-term option. So instead of always wanting the latest model, think carefully about whether you really need a new vehicle. In 95% of cases, a car a few years old will offer much better value for money and save you tens of thousands of euros. Trap number 6, streaming services in shambles. Today, a new financial trap is beginning to creep into our lives: the multitude of paid streaming services to which we subscribe without thinking too much. Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney+, Canal+, beIN Sports, etc. Before you know it, you've got a whole host of subscriptions that add up to a hefty monthly bill. And yet, Warren Buffett would tell you that most of these services are totally useless to the average person. Who really needs to be subscribed to 5 or 6 streaming platforms at the same time, apart from true series fans? His strategy would surely be to stick to just one, the one that offers the best value for your specific viewing profile. Or alternating subscriptions as and when you feel like it, canceling each time you have nothing to watch for a few months. Above all, never again fall for the easy way out of these small subscriptions, which end up costing you a fortune in the long run. A little discipline in canceling those you no longer need will easily save you several hundred euros a year. Pitfall number 7, unnecessary insurance. Another expense that Warren Buffett believes should be closely monitored is multiple insurance policies, which in many cases are useless. Although he runs an insurance company himself, Buffett insists that only the bare minimum of useful policies should be taken out to cover the most important risks. But all too often, under pressure from insurers, we find ourselves insured for a whole host of completely useless things. Insurance for stolen luggage, insurance for broken glasses, insurance for death when you have no dependents, insurance for loss of driving license, and so on. How many unnecessary products do you really pay for every year on top of your basic home, car, and health insurance? The next time your insurer tries to sell you a new and varied policy, ask yourself the question, do I really need it? In most cases, you'll realize that the risk is so small that it's not worth the cost. So do the right thing and categorically refuse all those products that are just taking money out of you for nothing. With a little sorting out like that, your annual insurance costs could easily be cut in half. Trap number 8, the car loan. Here's another trap that could cost you a fortune in the long run: the systematic use of car loans to finance the purchase of your vehicle. This is just the sort of thing Warren Buffett would warn you about. Because the interest you pay on such loans, often over very long periods, will literally explode the total cost of the vehicle. Let's take an example. For a new €25,000 car financed over 5 years at an interest rate of 5%, you'll pay almost €4,000 in fees on top of the initial purchase price. That's 16% more than if you had paid cash, and when you consider that over 5 years, this car will already have lost a good part of its resale value, you'll quickly realize that this type of loan is a real money pit. Especially if it's to finance a new model that depreciates even faster. Buffett's solution, of course, would be to save for a few years, so as to be able to pay cash for a second-hand vehicle with little depreciation. Or, failing that, to take out a small loan over a very short period to minimize interest charges. But the main thing is to avoid at all costs those 5, 6 or 7-year loans that make you finance a car far more expensively than it should be. Think twice before signing such a contract, your wallet will thank you. Trap number 9, recreational shopping. We're nearing the end of a trap that's perhaps more insidious than the others: recreational shopping and impulse buying, which regularly lead us to splurge on completely useless items. Let's face it, Buffett would have no mercy on those infamous shopping days when we spend hundreds of euros on clothes, accessories, and other trinkets that we have absolutely no need for at the time. His philosophy is that every purchase should be carefully thought out and matured beforehand. We should never give in to the temptation of products that appeal to us just because they're wardized or because we feel like treating ourselves. Instead, he advises you to draw up a regular shopping list at the start of the year, based on your real, foreseeable needs. And stick to it strictly throughout the following months, avoiding unplanned deviations in consumption as much as possible. It may seem a daunting tactic, but it's the key to stopping your money going down the drain. With a little discipline and planning, you could easily save thousands of euros every year that currently end up being squandered on useless shopping sprees. Pitfall number 10, extras and luxury options. To conclude, the last thing Buffett would ban for life from your spending list is all the extras, luxuries, and other little extras that are being sold to us at a premium these days. Whether it's for a car, a trip, real estate, or even everyday products, there's a growing tendency to want to buy little pleasures that are supposed to make life more pleasant. But when you add them all up, you end up with an insane money pit. The €2,000 heated massage seat for your new car, the €500 a month gym and private cinema package for your luxury apartment, the €100 tickets to avoid the queues at theme parks. These are all superfluous expenses that Buffett would advise you to avoid at all costs. After all, none of it is really essential to the smooth running of your life. Instead, concentrate on the smart purchase of essential goods and services, leaving aside all those temporary luxuries that will inevitably melt your nest egg. A frugal philosophy? It certainly is. But it's what makes Warren Buffett one of the richest men on the planet today. So go ahead, save like he did, and stop falling into those meaningless spending traps. That's it, we've reached the end of these 10 tips on how to avoid becoming poor through pointless spending. I hope you found this little summary of the mistakes not to make if you want to stay rich useful. Don't hesitate to share it with your friends and family who are struggling to save, and to give me a thumbs up if you liked it. See you soon for new content in the spirit of smart investing.